I'm not going to spend the time that Raoul's put into studying Bitcoin. But when you said buy it at 6, I went, okay. And so my question to you is, when's the next entry point for me? I mean,
right now is my answer.
Really?
We're standing at the precipice where the machines are going to take more power in the world.
Yeah.
More central bank printing is coming because the only answer to raising rates now is to deal with the economic downside, which is print more money,
right,
or more cowbell, as I call it. The asset that does the best in that environment is cryptocurrency and technology. So we're in this perfect storm, and gold tends to do well.
Real Vision Chief Executive Officer and founder Raoul says this is the best time for investors to get into the cryptocurrency markets, as it is one of the few industries that would be supported rather than completely obliterated by the AI revolution. According to Powell, the AI genie has been let out of the bottle already, and there's no saying how much it will disrupt our daily activities, industries, and established systems. But regardless of how he views it, Powell is certain that cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin and Ether will not be crushed by AI. In fact, the macro analyst believes cryptocurrencies and technology are the only safe bet for investors and entrepreneurs. Powell recently had a discussion with popular finance author Robert Kiyosaki about the AI revolution and just how much it's going to change the world as we know it today. Even with their combined decades of experience in the financial markets, Powell, a former Goldman Sachs executive, and Kiyosaki, a renowned investor and bestseller, is veteran investors cannot fully comprehend what's coming for the human race with AI. Powell describes what's coming as a very exciting phase with lots of opportunities, but a scary one nonetheless. Powell and Kiyosaki also discuss current macroeconomic conditions and how it further incentivizes investors to move away from established systems. According to Kiyosaki, American investors have been taught to toil day and night to make money and hand it over to Wall Street investors to make the most of. The Rich Dad, Poor Dad author believes that the era is completely over, as Wall Street and its archaic systems will be one of the first victims of the AI revolution. In addition, Powell and Kiyosaki expect central banks to turn on the printers again, another reason they believe it's time to take shelter in hard assets like Bitcoin, gold, and every other thing that cannot be magicked out of thin air by the government. Powell believes the coming exponential age will be great for technology and cryptocurrencies. Kiyosaki is going all out on hard assets to beat the rapidly unraveling fiat Ponzi. The combination of both thought processes is a powerful discussion you certainly don't want to miss. Please watch the video to the end as we bring you important clips from the insightful discussion. Also, ensure you like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on post notifications for more videos like this. Thanks and enjoy the video.
Well, just yesterday, I was at my dentist's office, and I'm so old, you know, I remember when they're coming across America in covered wagons. But I'm at my dentist's office just yesterday with a guy as old as me, and he's showing me my teeth via AI. Now, I had no idea what he was talking about. But he's an old guy, an old dentist, good one. He was blown away. He says, these are just your teeth. What we're doing with AI today, but that's all I knew. An old guy, an old dentist, just going, I can't believe what they're doing. And so he and I were conjecturing, like we're doing now, what happens tomorrow. And what he said is that AI is going to take over machines. So whatever that means, Raoul, take it away from here.
Yeah, I mean, look, we've all seen this machine learning and AI coming, and then suddenly that chat GPT happened, and suddenly human knowledge has become scalable. That is something, yes, books did that before, but not in the same way as this. It means we've got infinite knowledge accessible anywhere all the time in a way that we can't understand. So I think it's one of the most powerful technologies the world has ever seen. And when you hear people like Sam Altman talking about it, they don't even know how these things learn. There's an amazing documentary about DeepMind, the Google version, when it beat the best Go player in the world. And there was this moment where it started playing Go like no human. And they're like, well, it's clearly gone crazy. It's mad. It doesn't work. And then it won every single game ever since that date. And it had learned itself how to play the game of Go in a way no human had ever done before, played moves that no human had done, and had strategies that they didn't know. And that's the same thing with AI now and these large language models. We don't even know what they know. all we know is what we can ask them. And that's kind of weird. It's like meeting somebody in a foreign language and you've only got some of the words, in Spanish to ask them a few questions. That's not the extent of their knowledge. It's the extent of our ability to question them. So there's that happening. And then, as you said, Robert, the applications at real world level outside of this chat GPT are growing everywhere. There was a friend of mine here who is the chairman of the local hospital, and he is also the radiologist. And I showed him this one night over dinner. And he just got this new, he knows he's out of a job eventually, but they're using AI to read some of the x-rays and stuff. But he said, I've just taken a possession of a new brain MRI machine. He says, I've never used it before. It's new technology. And he said, I spent 6 hours today teaching myself how to use it, Googling and everything else. He said, I had to pull research papers, all of this. I said, why don't you ask ChatGPT 4 the same question? We were over dinner, over a glass of wine, and within 30 seconds, his face went ashen, and he's like, oh my God, it knows everything.
Well, the answer is it's going to do a lot of good, but it's going to destroy a lot of the old. It's the same as Bitcoin's doing. So the question is, another person I was listening to says women will be the biggest losers. And he says the reason for that is that men have traditionally combined both physical and mental activities. So like an auto mechanic still has to, work the wrenches and things like this. But if you're an office worker, or what they call a knowledge worker, so 60% of women, he says they're going to get wiped out. And I went, wow. So I'm not saying it's true or not, but people are conjecturing like we're doing today. What does this mean into the future?
During the discussion, Powell mentions that he previously believed data sciences and creative arts would not be displaced by AI. He had even suggested to a friend to have his children pursue those interests so they could stay relevant in the coming exponential age. But these fields were almost the first to be disrupted by AI. According to Powell, this further exemplifies how little we know of what's coming. The solution the former Goldman Sachs executive adds is to continuously reprogram how we think as it all progresses, starting with shedding old beliefs about investing and our dependence on our nearly bankrupt governments. As such, Powell recommends investing in your own demise, which means betting in support of instead of against technology and artificial intelligence. Let's get back to the interview as Powell and Kiyosaki discuss what's going to really matter in this next era of human evolution.
Well, it goes back again, Raoul, to Rich Dad Poor Dad's based upon two words, asset versus liability. What's an asset? What's a liability? It's called financial literacy. How do you define an asset and how do you define a liability? So when Wall Street defines an asset as a mutual fund, they go a little nuts. The question is, whose asset is it? Who's the counterparty there? So this piece of gold has no counterparty. That's why I call gold, silver, I call it God's money. It was placed here by God. They're on the periodic tables. Bitcoin is people's money because Wall Street, so far they can't mess with it that much. And so he goes into financial literacy definitions. What is an asset? What's a liability? So that's why I know he's hated by a lot of people, but Trump and I are really good friends. And we talk about how we create our own assets. What an entrepreneur does is I don't need Wall Street and I don't need the Fed, I don't need anybody to create my assets. So today, and I get kicked off of shows because of this, Raoul. Because what stock do you recommend? I don't. I create my own assets. I don't want anything that you can mess with. I don't want any of this stuff here. I want this stuff here. So I invest in cattle. The Fed cannot print Wagyu bull semen. So I sell it. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, absolutely.
Anything they cannot print, I'm in. I invest in oil. But I don't invoice, I used to work for Standard Oil as a third mate on their tankers. So I understand the oil industry. But I don't invest in the stocks, I invest in the oil.
So I hear what you're saying is invest in the real assets that aren't financialized. So you're kind of out of the system, right? And that's why even Bitcoin resonates with you because you're like, okay, this is out of the system. It works for my framework of how I see the world playing out. And, I agree with a lot of that. I mean, one of the reasons I ended up moving here actually was because I saw civil unrest, because Europe in 2012 was going through what the US is going through today, which is the banking system blowing up, all of that. And I saw this and thought, this is not good. It's one of the reasons I wanted a plan B. It's the reason I found Bitcoin in 2012, 13 was all of this. Americans are now getting the realization a bit later than the Europeans had, which is you're on your own. It's something you and I have both talked about, is you're on your own in this world. You better figure it out because nobody's here to help you.
Right.
So I think my perspective on this is, we talked about AI. Mine is invest in your own disruption is the best thing you can do. And as you say, one thing is be an entrepreneur, but open your mind, as exactly as you said, Robert. Realize the world has changed. Adapt. You'll be fine, or more likely to be fine. And if you're an investor, invest in your own demise. So that means, okay, every single AI, every robot, every single self-driving car, all of it requires a semiconductor.
Right.
Buy bloody semiconductors. There's an ETF called ETH. You don't have to be smart. You don't have to know the technology. You don't have to do anything. Buy one ETF. It's likely to do well over the next 10 years because we're going to have massive demand for this stuff. If not, just technology companies, and people don't look at valuations. We're in a complete regime change. I think even Robert's explaining this is a completely different world we're about to go into. So forget your valuation models, forget everything else. Just this is going to be, and maybe a big bubble at some point. You can get out when it gets a bubble, but we're early stage. We're nowhere near the highs yet, so go for that. And my other part of this is, as the machines get smarter and there's more AI and more robots, they will have their own system of money, and that will be cryptocurrency because that's the efficient way for machine-to-machine payments. It all is part of this theme. So my theme is invest in that digitization. Your theme is invest in things that are non-disrupted by digitization. That's a very nice barbell of a portfolio if we put these two ideas together, because one will maintain wealth and the other gives you an opportunity to get a bit of a moonshot somewhere as well.
Invest in hard assets, technology, and in yourself so you can grow as the world continues to evolve. That's Raoul Pal's simple investment strategy to avoid getting completely obliterated during the AI revolution. The former Goldman Sachs executive shares as much in one of his recent tweets, which reads, "It certainly feels like the exponential age is playing out and remains one of the most hated rallies since 2009. This is likely to be a multi-year exponential move in tech and crypto. However, at some point soon we will see a correction and some sideways action in tech, but I have no idea when. At some point too, crypto, which led this move, will begin its next phase higher. Then the everything code will kick in as debt interest payments get monetized and banks get probably bailed out later in 2024 and 2025. That debasement, not liquidity, is the easy part when it starts and is when asset prices go into hyperspace. When a Twitter user asks what Pal makes of the crypto sell-off, especially in altcoins, he describes it as nothing but noise. What are your thoughts on Raoul Pal and Robert Kiyosaki's description of the coming AI revolution and the urgent need for hard assets like Bitcoin and technology? Please drop your comments and observations in the comments section below. Also, ensure you like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on post notifications for more videos like this. Thanks for watching.